a solo journey through Savannah's shadows. Jason loved the thrill of solo road trips. This time, his destination was Savannah, Georgia, a city celebrated for its charm, history, and whispers of the paranormal. A motorcycle enthusiast, he had planned every stop meticulously, except for the peculiar urge that led him to stay at an old inn nestled near Forsyth Park. The inn, named Magnolia Manor, had a rustic beauty. The receptionist, an elderly woman with sharp eyes, handed Jason the key to room 9. "Welcome," she said. "The room has a long history. Enjoy your stay." Jason shrugged off her cryptic tone, attributing it to the inn's attempt to feed into Savannah's ghostly reputation. After unpacking, he wandered into Forsyth Park. The moss-draped oaks and twilight glow created an eerie yet beautiful atmosphere. He captured photos, noting the haunting stillness that seemed to follow him. Returning to the inn, Jason noticed the hallways were darker than before, the dim lights casting shadows that seemed to shift as he walked. In room 9, the air felt unusually cold. Dismissing it as the building's age, he decided to shower. As the water ran, Jason heard faint whispers. He paused, turning off the faucet, but the whispers continued. "Who's there?" he called, his voice echoing. No response. When he stepped out, the mirror was fogged, yet a message was etched into the condensation. "Don't stay!" A chill ran down his spine. Jason chuckled nervously, convinced it was a prank. He wiped the mirror clean, but as he turned, a fleeting figure passed behind him in the reflection, a woman in a gray dress with hollow eyes. He spun around, but the room was empty. His pulse raced. Grabbing his jacket, Jason decided to explore the city, needing to shake off the unease. Savannah's cobblestone streets were alive with history. Yet, as Jason walked, he felt an uncanny sensation of being followed. At every turn, he caught glimpses of a shadow darting out of view. By the time he reached Colonial Park Cemetery, his nerves were frayed. The cemetery was eerily quiet, the air thick with humidity. Jason sat on a bench trying to collect his thoughts. Suddenly, a woman's voice whispered in his ear, "You shouldn't have come." He bolted upright, looking around, but the cemetery was empty. The voice, however, seemed to linger, its warning echoing in his mind. Returning to the inn, Jason resolved to leave first thing in the morning. He locked the door, pushing a chair against it for good measure. Lying in bed, sleep eluded him. Around 3 a.m., the atmosphere shifted. The sound of footsteps filled the room. Jason's heart pounded as he sat up. At the foot of the bed stood the woman from the mirror, her gray dress tattered, her face pale and sunken. "You ignored the warning," she said, her voice a mixture of sorrow and anger. Jason froze, unable to move. The room seemed to collapse around him, the walls closing in. "What do you want?" he managed to choke out. She didn't answer. Instead, she raised a bony hand, pointing toward the window. Jason turned his head to see figures outside. Dozens of shadowy silhouettes standing motionless in the courtyard, all staring up at him. In an instant, the woman lunged toward him, and everything went black. Jason awoke the next morning, drenched in sweat, the room bathed in sunlight. There was no sign of the woman or the ghostly figures. Gathering his belongings, he fled Magnolia Manor without looking back. As he rode his motorcycle out of Savannah, Jason couldn't shake the feeling that something was following him. Every so often, he'd glance in his rearview mirror, convinced he saw a gray shadow trailing in the distance. Years later, Jason would recount his story to friends, warning them about Magnolia Manor. Despite their skepticism, he knew the truth. Savannah, with its beauty and history, also harbored restless spirits, and one had left an indelible mark on him.